All right, everyone. I apologize. Let's get started over. Let's head into Collectively Rewilding. I forgot to hit record. Thank you, Tammy, for catching that. And let's dive right in. So we had already kind of started talking. Wendy Lucius gave me some requests for what she would like to put into her garden on her porch. She's going to put a little porch garden out. She is in an 11A gardening zone, which is brilliant for plants. It's going to be so easy to grow what she wants. She could probably go ahead and start anything she wants to from seed now and just keep it going. I've never been able to have such a positive environment for plants. I've always been in colder areas, at least for a portion of the year, and definitely not as moist either. So it'll be a lot of fun for her to play with. She has the desire to grow tomatoes and peppers specifically. She does have enough room for any type of pepper that she'd like, just one. Scotch bonnet peppers are the pepper that is the most associated with Caribbean style cooking, which was also what Wendy let me know is their main style of cooking. Onions could probably be added in a separate container here. Definitely would just have to play with the space. I would hesitate to add them in with the tomatoes and bell peppers. However, you could definitely add some chives and some garlic to each of those containers. You might want to put one only, whether you wanted a little more garlic or a little more chives into the pepper container, or get a little bit bigger container similar to the cherry tomato. So the cherry tomato is going to need a pretty decent sized container. Let's just throw that up there. How large, container for cherry plant. All right. At least 14 inches in diameter and 12 inches deep. So that is where you're looking here in the garden plot. Let me figure out where we are here. 14 inches in diameter. So this is looking more like about maybe 11 inches in diameter. Let's see what the recommendation is there. At least 5 gallons, a 12-inch diameter, 10-inch depth. Yeah, so yes, a little bit smaller container. If Wendy wants to grow the, now my computer's trying to freeze on me. If Wendy would like to grow additional plants with the pepper plant, it would be very easy to add the same size pot as she's using for the cherry tomatoes here, 14 inches, as opposed to, I believe it was 12 there. That would give her definitely enough room to add in some chives, possibly an onion, maybe a smaller onion, maybe walking onions. Let's look at onions in general. We'll just say onion and see what they let us know from the overall. At least 10 inches of depth, yes. So that's what I was thinking. You would probably want to go ahead and have a separate container for the onion plant, and that would depend on how tight they want their porch to be, right? And so then over on their shelf, this would need to be in the sunny spot on their porch. They said they had one area of their porch that got at least 6 hours of sunlight a day. That's just barely enough, but it is enough to produce some cherry tomatoes and some peppers, right? Also, the shadier area should be able, as long as it gets at least some direct sunlight, for things like thyme, cilantro, parsley, oregano, ginger. Turmeric would also fit, I believe, on their shelving unit. It would just not show here because I don't have a little icon for it. So there's definitely a lot that can be done there. We'll add some more information in here for her about the general growing instructions for each of these plants, and then see if we want to modify it. That's going to be the basic layout for those personal garden reports here in Collectively Rewilding. What do you guys think? Does that look like something that would be positive for you to have? Please go ahead, speak up. There's just the 5 of us here.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Does that
Yeah,
help you
sure.
to visualize what you would do if you had something like that?
Yeah, for sure. For me, yeah. I like visuals. Yeah, I like
They do help. They really help to even begin to have a plan, right? And then when you go to working that plan, you might find that you want to change it some. But just to start, to have that visual aid is so helpful. All right. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask about what they're doing or share what they're doing in their gardening or their outside activities right now?
I have a question, Sabrina.
Please. And is that Ingrid?
Yes, it is. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
I'm good. I have some collard greens and some kale growing in pots on my patio,
Okay.
and they keep getting these, what my friend called them cut worms.
Oh, no
And
fun.
it looks like somebody shot them with a shotgun. It's terrible. But I have tried using fresh garlic chopped up and like sprinkled on the soil and something else I used. I just wanted to know if you had any ideas or something I could do to get rid of them.
Well, generally, bugs don't like marigolds, but let's just check. And you said it's cutworms, according to your friend?
Yes, yes.
Um, let's see if there's anything that you could go get to plant in there or put next to it, perhaps, right? That's what I would guess. Most bugs do not like
Oh,
marigolds. Is your pot big enough to add a marigold plant into it?
the one with the collard greens is, but probably not the kale.
Can you keep them close together where they're smelling that
Oh yeah,
mar
oh yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Cilantro or parsley could also be added where you're just picking them all the time, not to let them overtake your other plant, but to deter the cutworms from your intended plants, right? And I'm sorry, you said they were
Right.
tomatoes?
Collard greens and
Collard greens and tomatoes.
kale.
That's right. Okay. Yes. That would be my recommendation. If you've already tried some more application intervention and it's not working, adding
Yeah.
in those deterrent plants is always a really good idea. Let me tag
Okay.
you in this post that we shared from one of our featured content creators, Gardenary. She is just so cute. I love the name of her channel, all of it. And she has this really beautiful layout on planning your garden. And if you have enough space, you can add some of these plants in pots around what you're already doing, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
so she teaches a layered effect where you have several different layers of plants around the plants that you're protecting to discourage other plants. And they're
Right.
very worthy of growing as well, right? So
Okay.
definitely something to consider. Let me
Okay.
just
Sounds
tag you
good.
here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just said it sounds good.
Yes, definitely. And I didn't really always give marigolds their credit. They weren't one of my favorite flowers. And then I grew them one year and I fell in love. I think that they are such beautiful flowers and there's so many different varieties. So definitely a lot of fun.
I have grown marigolds before. I completely forgot about them. I grew them with my tomatoes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. They're really just a great deterrent, as is garlic. Let's see what the other recommendations they specifically had for it. Basil. I do like basil. I love purple basil. It is so pretty to grow, and Thai basil is pretty to grow as well.
Oh,
Cilantro and parsley, though, those are things that you could plant in there and just pick off of them really heavily so that they're right in that pot with the other plants, but they don't overtake it, right?
okay. I never have any luck with cilantro, but I'll try it again.
Um, you know, herbs and as long as I'm not doing containers, I have really good luck. When it starts getting into container gardening, I really have to battle and struggle too. So
All
it's
right.
definitely a skill. And it is not one of my biggest skills. So I put some information in here. Tammy Larson and Ethel Grant have both put information in here that will help those of you who are doing container gardening. I
Okay.
don't really think of raised beds if they are connected to the soil as container gardening. Some people do. If they're separated from the ground, then yes, I would consider that a container garden. But really, I like in-ground growing. That's what my green thumb prefers, right?
Yeah, I love the in-ground. I wish I had a house instead of an apartment, but I'm working on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you would love to get something like that to help you build out what you've already got, just let us know and we can put together a report for you like that as well, Ingrid.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Anything else that anybody would like to share about what they've got going on? Any challenges or successes?
Sabrina, could
Oh,
could you tag me in that too? Because I'm
absolutely, Vanessa.
crawling greens too.
Hmm.
Mine look like nothing but holes in them, like
Oh,
bullet too. They used to be so pretty, and then they just out of it like within 3 days they were all like just little holes everywhere. They were all
yes, this is a really good strategy. I really agree with the idea that she puts out. I had never thought of the layered approach that she is suggesting, and I'm definitely going to play with it when I get to explore more with my growing areas, right? Just trying to bring the soil health back right now. I don't want to just bring in a lot of soil from out of the property. I want to get this soil into the best working condition. And yes, add in some additional compost and things like that. But it's a work in progress for sure. And this lady is fun to watch. She really wants to make it easy and accessible for everyone. I think that that is the best approach. That's absolutely what I want to do with all of the things that we're doing here. And so when I get to start back into working all of this, I'll keep you guys in the loop. And so we'd love to see some pictures of your bug-eaten collard greens, and then show us what you do to move forward. And if it has any effect, we would definitely love to hear, ladies.
Okay, not a problem.
all right.
Wonderful. Anything anybody else would like to talk about? Tammy, how are your flats going? Have you transplanted them yet?
I just transplanted the ones that I showed you. Just like 3 or 4, maybe 5.
That's
And
awesome.
like one's a little dying, my little purple whole green bean or purple bean, whatever it
And
is.
did you put it into another pot, or did you
Yeah,
put it
I
in?
just put it in another pot.
And what's going on with it, if you don't mind my asking?
I don't know if it got like whipped out by the wind. I don't know, like it didn't take the the transfer properly. I don't know the soil. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I've never grown a green bean, so or a purple bean. So I can have Daryl take a picture of it, and I can show you what it looks like. It's just the leaves are just like
The leaves are shriveled. It started struggling before we transplanted it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's taking the shocks very well.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a pretty tall purple stem.
When your plants are struggling, you really want to try to wait until you've gotten them back to full health before doing something like transplanting, if you can help it at all.
Well, the roots are like outgrowing almost a solo cup, so they needed to be it needed to be transplanted into a bigger thingamabobber because it was in starting seeding soil.
Yeah, we tried to
So I had to
nurse it
transplant
back
it
to
into like what is it? I think it's gardening soil.
So when you say that it was growing out, were they really getting root bound inside
Oh
of
yeah,
it?
they were just
There was
like, yeah, they were growing up obviously because I had a solo cup and I could see them.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you need to be transplanted, and I knew it needed to be transplanted. Maybe I waited too long.
Possibly.
No.
Were they, when I say root bound, I mean, were they really wrapped around themselves? Like you could just see a big old ball of roots already.
There was I just planted one.
Uh-huh.
So they were just, I don't think
It was
so.
just starting to come out, right?
They just go up. They just go, the roots go up.
I'm talking about the roots though.
Yeah, I'm talking about the roots. It just went up. Like in the soil cup, you can see right through it. And the roots, look amazing. It's just I don't think it took the transplant, the soil that I put it in, like the type of gardening soil. It's like Miracle Grow or whatever it's called. Just your ordinary vegetable and soil. They get
So what I'm trying to get at is if it was just like where your root had gone down and started to come up, is that where you were?
well, it was tall, so I don't know.
The root was tall?
Yeah, it's a root. The roots are a lot. There was just one green bean, and it just had a strong root. And so, like,
Okay, hold there for just a second though. But you said it was struggling before you transplanted it, right?
well, I don't know what my husband's talking about because he put it out in the water, so it kind of probably got like uh, wiped out by the sprinkler thing. So the leaves are just wilting. They were just wilted and shrunk up.
Before it got transplanted though, right?
Yeah, well, there's only 3 leaves.
It was starting to. I think
Yeah.
it got beat up by the wind pretty bad. Too.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, unless your root was just balled up to where you couldn't even tell one root piece from another, it would have been better to wait until you had gotten that plant back to full health before you transplanted it. It can get a lot of root inside itself.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bundled up or anything. It was pretty clean. It's
Yeah,
just
so that's where you would have wanted to wait before you transplanted it.
yeah, it's just hot out here, so like
Mhm.
I'm keep on watering it, and the roots are just gonna keep growing out of the solo cup and going
Yeah,
out.
they will a little bit.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And they'll grow others. And then that's where it starts to become root bound. But it takes it quite a while to become root bound. And
yeah,
until that point, you're okay in that medium. If it's struggling, you could definitely let it stay there before you put it through the shock of transplanting it into a larger pot.
I just felt like it needed more nutrients. Like I was only in starting soil, like we start the soil seeding
Mhm.
seeds.
I do.
Yeah, so I
I'm
felt
just telling you, in the end, if
Yeah.
there's any way to keep it where it's at, if it's showing some damage, it's better to get it to full health before transplant.
gotcha.
Yeah.
The next time I remember that when I plant the next bean.
Or any plant, really.
Yeah,
It doesn't
sure.
matter. If the plant is showing some signs of struggling and there's any way to wait to transplant it, you can move it to a better location. Absolutely. Things like that. Get it more shade, get it more shelter from the wind, any of those kinds of things. But don't transplant it into another container until you get it back to a good health.
For sure.
All right. But your others are doing well?
Yeah, I just did like a little. I have this like little hole thingy bobbers that I created like a little in the ground bed thing.
Okay.
It's just like topsoil or whatever, and the sand that I have out here, and then I just put that in there, and then I threw like those box seeds that cover like 100 square feet, like that attract butterflies and all that stuff. So I had this hole for a very long time in my backyard. So I was like, I'm just gonna make a flower bed. I'm gonna start something. So I got these those boxes that I was telling you about, and you just spread them. They're
Mhm.
not seeds, they're just like it looks like sawdust,
Uh-huh.
So
It is seeds mixed into that. It's
Yeah.
filler so that they're easier to spread.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I did that. I put like there's like ones that attract birds, butterflies, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's what I did, and just watering that, and hopefully I'll have like really cute flowers coming up.
Absolutely. I wish
Yeah.
you success. That's what I'm
Thank-
struggling with here as well, right? We both have some pretty rough soil, and it does take effort to get that to go, especially with the winds that you guys have been experiencing out there. We get them, but they're sporadic. They're not just constant. It seems like you guys have really dealt with some bad winds lately.
Yeah, the monsoon, the main whatever you call it. Yeah, it's really windy up here. Really freaking windy. Yeah, it's crazy windy.
Not a lot of fun. Have you ever thought about planting some trees to provide a windbreak?
I'm not yet. I'm still like focusing on my salt cedars. Those need to be out. They like I want to put like palm trees or something like that. That I saw at Home Depot. That's a good windbreaker. I don't have the stability quite yet for the hill.
Well, you
I
would
don't
want to
know.
look at perhaps doing something other than trees. Maybe you would put in something like what we're going to do over here in our side yard, trying to find, an inexpensive way. We're going to actually put up either like railroad ties, like 4x4s, or PVC pipe with rebar in it, something like that. And then we're going to plant plants on that to block the sun. Perhaps you guys could think about putting up something like that, trellising wise, that had some shrubbery style
Yeah, I'm
grow.
trying to think of like just like my house. Like there's only like a couple areas, like just like the side of the house, which is like, where the septic is. Okay.
Okay?
And
See,
that,
and that's a place that will have a lot of water, but you can't have a lot of roots,
yeah,
right?
for sure. And I don't even want to grow anything over there. I can grow like more towards like the fence area, and then like have that maybe as grass or whatever. I just don't want to plant anything in that.
Grass will be really hard to get established there, and it will take a
Oh
lot of
no,
water.
it doesn't actually. It grows
Really?
really good up here because, like I said,
Mhm.
I have sprinklers, and when I moved here, oh my God, the grass is so green. Like they had the netting, that green stuff. So they were already on that stuff, and I just stopped watering pretty much and stopped doing a lot of things. So, but yeah, watering is the main key up here. But there is really good soil if you like, work with it, you know. But yeah, grass is really cool out here. It's really green when it gets green, and then if you don't water, it's just gonna basically
Well,
go.
I mean, that's anywhere to a degree, but it just, my experience of California grass was that it took a lot of water and it was really delicate, that you couldn't walk on it much or,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. It's not like I don't even know how to explain the kind of grass it was. It just felt like wild grass, where like
okay, so maybe a really drought resistant variety.
yeah. So it wasn't
Yeah,
like
definitely.
walking down Beverly Hills and you're seeing like fresh green grass.
Um,
No, it was just like
I didn't ever live anywhere near Beverly Hills,
me
but
either.
yeah, I've actually lived all over California, and it's just grass is a tough one for like what we consider grass, like soccer field grass, right? But if you go to the hardier grasses, the more drought resistant grasses, that's a totally different story.
Yeah, like when my husband went to the park, he went to the store and he went to park down the street and beautiful green grass, and it's a public park. I was like, I wish my yard looked like that, but I'm sure they water it like a lot, and there's a pool and stuff. So it's a huge little park, but there's a pool and stuff.
It's different to use that much water for an area that a lot of people are going to get, but to try to use that much water in a recreational area or in a residential area, I just each to their own. I don't like using grass. I really think that other things are better. Now, again, a more native grass, right? A drought resistant grass, that would be something that would help to get rid of soil erosion and wouldn't require the kinds of water. And some of it's very pretty. Ornamental grasses can be a very hardy grass, but those you don't necessarily mow. So it just all depends on what you want out of the area, right?
For sure. Yeah. My
Do
dad
you
used
want it
to.
for like your dogs to run around on? I mean, what would you want?
I just love grass. I like sitting in it. I like, laying down and like just the coolness of the feel of grass, like just going out and just feeling the grass sometimes, because I live here in the desert and it's not nothing to go out to, but when I love the fresh smell of green grass sometimes. It's just
So that
beautiful.
would be more towards your like soccer grasses. You can
Yeah.
definitely still get some that are more drought resistant and things like that. And
Hmm.
to lay in it, right? Your hardier grasses, they're not soft like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but like I said, I haven't really grown it in a while, so I don't know exactly what it's gonna look like when it does come up. But like I said, down the street and people that live in the city have beautiful green grass, and me, I don't have grass.
Just it's really heavy water usage, right? In Denver, which is arguably less intensive in its heat and dryness, right? They said that 60% of the residential water use went to lawns. And that just broke my heart. We're struggling with water all over. So for something like that, if you wanted to lay in it, where you already have the sprinkled area, do your sprinklers still work?
I gotta get the prints of the layout because we cut some of them. Okay, so
Oh,
like over
no.
time, the dirt because I have soakers, along the fence, and like I said, one year we one of the soakers kind of busted, and we weren't like outside, and the whole side of the hill down there, whoop, you know, So yeah, I do have a sprinkler set, and it's pretty cool. We just cut a couple of lines, and we really gotta get I think the schematics or whatever, or maybe I don't know.
Schematic.
Yeah, of where they're laid out.
You probably aren't going to be able to get those records from someone. The
But
sprinkler
like the
system,
blueprints, because they actually have
only if that was something they initially installed, and I'm not aware if I've never seen sprinklers on blueprints before that were like stored at your county or anything like that, right? But
an
you know,
idea. Yeah, at least have an
possible.
idea where they are. I didn't put
Do
them
you
in.
have the sprinkler heads?
Well, I
still?
don't know. They're in the ground, and a lot of them are so bad, and like I just don't know where they start or where they end. Because it's a huge yard, and both yards have them, and I don't know where about if I could put them back in. Where do I put how do I fix it? I don't know where they're laid out at. That's like a needle in a haystack trying to dig where are the sprinkler heads.
If you get an idea, they're laid out in a grid pattern. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you find the heads, you should be able to
We don't have them. Like I said, they're all damaged. They're all taken off. We took them all off because we were going to replace them, but we forgot to put them back on. So,
that's probably going to require some professional.
I would say I literally got to figure out where, like, some of them we took them out. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but they're still there. Some of them, at least. But like I said,
if you can find enough to walk your grid pattern, then you'll be able to figure out where they're placed. If there are enough of them to get a line going in both directions,
you
should be able to figure out where they are.
Right. My husband probably can, but me, I don't even know how to turn the things on. I know.
Well, you don't want to turn them on at this point.
I'm just saying in general, I don't know where the sprinkler system, to turn the thing on like my husband does, so I'm not
right,
really,
totally.
Yeah.
But I'm still saying, like, if you guys want to know, that's your best method. Otherwise, you have to start most likely digging into your ground to find your sprinkler system.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the reality of it. When they come to do the lines here and anywhere that I've lived where they come to mark it so that you can dig, right? Call before you dig. They don't mark your sprinkler lines because the city doesn't know where your sprinkler lines are.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. I'm not sure.
You absolutely can.
Yeah.
But the sooner you have Daryl go out and walk to try to locate those sprinkler heads, the better idea you would have if you wanted to start working on them.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Totally. Yeah.
Because the longer the time goes where you guys have removed the sprinkler heads and things, they're just going to start getting buried and harder to locate.
Yeah.
So,
that is for sure correct on that one.
And I would have him walk with the camera, right? Like walk in a pattern with the camera so that you have a record of that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let him know. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to actually put in our backyard sprinklers above ground. We're going to put them in the berm and swale system. And that's another alternative that you guys could consider, where it would be such a labor-intensive process to correct the sprinkler system that you already have, that you could consider an above ground, underground system to host your sprinkler systems and just kind of start over without having to dig in, right? Like that's the key for me. I don't want to have to dig into the soil. I don't want to have to dig into it to put the sprinkler system in, and I don't want to have to dig into it to fix the sprinkler system if there's a problem. So that's why I want to do an above ground buried sprinkler system. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. It sure does.
So that would be another alternative that you guys can consider. And to be completely real about it, it would probably be the cheaper option.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let
and the easier option. For certain. There's no doubt of that, right?
Yeah.
So just something to think about, alternatives that you have.
For sure.
All right, guys. I think that's been really great class. Does anybody else have anything they want to say? Anything in the chat, Miss Tammy, that needs to be addressed?
I don't see anything other than Benny. He just came in late. Tardy.
Oh, of course. That's a bummer. This one is a quick class, right? So Did you have anything that you wanted to talk about or ask Benny before we shut class down? We'll wait for a moment there, see if he has anything he wants to work on or talk about. Oh, let's see, goodness. We talked about the, he just wanted to know what he missed. We talked about the new personal report style that I'm working on for those of you who would like a personal garden report and what Wendy can do with her little garden porch garden. Goodness, guys, can you tell I'm getting tired? And talked about cutworms and how to proceed with container gardens, especially in regards to pests like cutworms. Tagged Miss Ingrid and Miss Vanessa in the post by Gardenary about how to layer those protections of other plants to protect them from bugs and things like that. And then just about Miss Tammy's garden and what she's got going on in her overall yard. Yeah. All right, guys. So I haven't decided. I would really love to do the sewing circle session, but I'm just not finding the time or ability. So I make no promises. We'll see. Let's just check out really quickly what we have going on for the calendar in Let's Go Help 2, because I had to change that calendar around and I don't even know if it will accommodate it. I think that yes, because I had to move the business class, that's at the exact same time, and I just haven't felt well. So for sure, I'm going to put that off at least for another week. I would really love to just sit and talk and have fun with it, but I think that, we'll go ahead and postpone it at least another week there for that. So let's go and look at the overall calendar again. So the next class here in Collectively Rewilding will be this Saturday with Miss Tammy, Tea and Talk with Tammy at 12 o'clock p.m. noon in Pacific time, 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain time, 2 o'clock p.m. Central, and 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Hope you guys are able to join in with Miss Tammy. I may be gone. There's discussion of a drive-in movie, but I should be able to get it set up, and I'm not sure that I'm going to go to the drive-in movie. So we'll see about that. And then the next time that I will be with you guys. Oh, look, they've totally changed the format for how that looks. Interesting. That will be this coming Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Mountain, 8:30 p.m. Central, and 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I hope you all have wonderful weekends, and I hope to see you on the next few classes. Thank you, guys, and please feel free to unmute yourselves and say goodnight, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, guys. Have a
Everyone,
great
thank you,
night.
Sabrina.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Next week or maybe on Saturday.